Well, more speculation has been raised on the reasons for NATO's intervention in Libya. And as RT's Laura Emmett reports, the organisation may have been trying to prevent Gaddafi from burying the American buck.
According to some, it's about protecting civilians.
We must not tolerate this regime using military force against its own people.
Others say it's about oil.
The only reason they're interested with Libya is about the oil. You'd think we'd be in Iraq if the major export there was broccoli.
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted. There were two conferences on this, one in '96 and another one in the year 2000, called the World Mataba Conference, organised by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested. I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. The UK has double that, but 10 times the population.
If Gaddafi had an intent to try to reprice his oil or whatever else the country was selling in the global markets and accept something else as a currency, or maybe launch a gold dinar currency, any move such as that would certainly not be welcomed by the power elite today who are responsible for controlling the world's central banks. So yes, that would certainly be something that would cause his immediate dismissal and the need for other reasons to be brought forth for removing him from power.
It's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraqi oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Sanctions and an invasion followed. Some say because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC from transferring oil trading in all its member countries to the euro. The UK's gold is kept here in a secure vault somewhere in the depths of the Bank of England. As in most developed countries, there's not enough to go around. But that's not the case in places like Libya and many of the Gulf states. A gold dinar would have given oil-rich African and Middle Eastern countries the power to turn around to their energy-hungry customers and say, sorry, the price has gone up and we want gold. Some say the US and its NATO allies literally couldn't afford to let that happen. Laura Emmett, RT, London.
Journalist and author Afshin Rattansi joins me live now from London to discuss the consequences of Osama bin Laden's demise. Good to see you there, Afshin, in London. Now, the United States hailed bin Laden's death as a major victory. Do you think, as we are hearing today on RT, that the US could actually build on this by staying longer in Afghanistan and perhaps even continuing the drone strikes in Pakistan, despite the fact they are pledging to withdraw from Afghanistan?
I think the drone strikes will certainly continue, but it's all about incentives. There were once incentives for the US's spy agencies to back bin Laden. Now, what are the incentives for all those K Street lobbyists in Washington? Well, congressmen and women certainly don't want an increase in spending on Afghanistan and let alone Iraq. And so I would think that they are going to start to pull back. And some people are already saying that the timing of this announcement, as it were, of the killing of bin Laden by the Nobel Peace Prize winner himself, the timing is related to financial and political reasons, and this could be used as an excuse, and certainly Congress would like that, of a pulling back and a more isolationist policy. I think a lot of the world would hope that's the case. In Libya, of course, they're back to supporting some elements that are a bit like bin Laden.
What's this going to do then for Obama's political future? It's good news for him, surely.
I think certainly the poll ratings are beginning to show that. However, I should add that I worked on a stream of programming for an Arabic broadcaster that first interviewed Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and some people are saying there are elements of intelligence that came from him. And apparently, according to him, the people that did 9/11 had asked for nuclear power stations to be attacked using aeroplanes as opposed to or added on to the Twin Towers. I think there's a lot of dangers ahead, and President Obama seemed to allude to that when he said the world is a safer place and now all embassies on the world are on a heightened alert.
Can I quickly ask you about the latest news is that Obama has said that they are not going to release a photo of the dead bin Laden. A lot of speculation over whether they should or not. What do you think? Should they?
I think no wonder conspiracy theories all around the internet are arising, because there seems to be the usual fair degree of chaos around the National Security Agency, the CIA, and other intelligence institutions. After all, the story kept changing in the aftermath of the killing of bin Laden. They said they were discussing the release of the photograph. Now they're not. I think they're also looking to what happened with Saddam and other people all around the world that the United States has been assassinating for the past 100 years or so. So presumably they've got psychologists in saying this photo would become something that would heighten tension. I don't think tensions can be much higher. As people have said, the Arab Spring has overtaken Al-Qaeda, hopefully, and those who did support bin Laden and his Islamist stuff will certainly attack Western interests regardless of a photograph.
You mentioned Saddam Hussein. He was taken alive. Bin Laden wasn't. Why was he killed, do you think, and not put on trial?
Well, they of course killed Saddam's sons, but as has been said quite a bit, they obviously didn't want the embarrassing revelations of how the United States basically created bin Laden, as it's created so many Islamists, as it's funded so many Islamists around the world. What's so terrible is how the American population are being lied to about how that exactly went on. So when you saw those chants of USA around Ground Zero, I think very few people seemed to understand that bin Laden was a creation of America. And it's a very sad reflection on the U.S. education system.
Let me quickly and finally ask you about the implications this will have. The fact that bin Laden was found in Pakistani territory, and obviously in a strategically very important place. What does that do for relations between the U.S. and Pakistan now?
I think it's very interesting. I've talked to a lot of Pakistanis over the years. I think Pakistan has sometimes threatened the United States with a rapprochement with China. We must remember Pakistan has nuclear weapons, and I think that will be the decisive element here as to the U.S.-Pakistani relationship, because there's no doubt that all around the world people are saying Pakistan knew about where bin Laden was.
I do have just time for one quick reaction from you concerning retaliation. Many people saying this is going to make the world a safer place. What does this mean, the implications of the death of bin Laden now? What are we going to see in the future?
Assassinations, as we've known, usually don't make the world a safer place. I think we do have to be on guard, but we mustn't allow the United States, which after all created this Al-Qaeda operation through its foreign policies, to make it even less safer place because of what happened. As Iran said, you know, this alien forces in Iraq, in Afghanistan, all around the world, that is what makes the world less stable. And let's hope Washington, it's a forlorn hope probably, realize that a more isolationist policy would be better for all of us.
Always interesting to hear what you have to say. Thanks for your time. Afshin Rattansi joining me live in London. Thanks.